Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a concert review of July Talk and Metric. July Talk and Metric, these are two Canadian rock bands. They're both from Toronto. They're now embarking on a Canadian-wide tour, and I was fortunate enough to get to see them play in Ottawa, so I'm just going to be recapping what I saw there. I was also lucky enough to be right up against the rail, right at the front of the stage, so I got to see everything plain as day. Both of these bands I've been following for about 6 or 7 years each. They have a lot of great music. I was looking forward to this concert, and I just wanted to share some thoughts and comments about the concert. It was a great time. We're going to be talking about the set list. We're going to be talking about the showmanship, the kind of engagement that they had with the crowd, the sound and recreation of the music itself, and last but not least, the visuals such as props. Kicking things off, we're going to be talking about July Talk, as they were the opening band. In terms of the set list, they played pretty much all of their big hits. You could pretty much open up Apple Music or Spotify and just run through what their top songs are, and they would have played them. It would have been every song basically except for Paper Girl. That was the only one that I thought was a pretty big hit for them back when they dropped their debut record. July Talk were on stage for an hour, although they could have played for a bit longer. They do have 2 albums out at this point. They have some deep cuts that I'm a big fan of. However, I was really surprised and really pleased with the fact that they played 3 new songs, and I think they're all unreleased to this date, because after the concert I tried looking them up and I couldn't find them with any luck. My prediction with this, I think July Talk are probably going to come out with a new album or like a deluxe version to their most recent one, Touch, which came out in 2016. They came out with a deluxe version of their debut record, their self-titled one. That was back in 2014. They put 3 new songs on there. So I just feel like if they played 3 new songs at this concert, I feel like they could like tie that on to their newest record. But who knows, maybe a new project is in the works, and I would definitely get behind that. In terms of the showmanship, one of the lead singers, Leah Faye, she must be some kind of dancer, because she is so flexible. She is just moving up there so smoothly, so effortlessly. At points of the show, she was like standing on the speakers. She even got up on the rail, the front rail where the crowd was, and she was balancing herself by using one hand to like reach out and touch the fans. Then she had the microphone in her other hand, so it was like, I don't know how she could build up that confidence to just hold on to strangers' hands. There were some security guards behind the rail, just making sure that she wouldn't fall backwards, but still showing a lot of trust and a lot of faith in the front row. In terms of chemistry with the other lead vocalist, Peter Drymanis, it's that textbook will they won't they relationship. It's what they talk about in their music, as they are called July Talk. It's about having this argument between lovers, whether they're on the same page or a completely different planet. I really just got on board with the whole she loves me not kind of sentiment to some of their songs. They really matched that, especially with Beck and Call. Peter looked like he was having like a seizure half the time on the stage, very animated, and that kind of just sets them apart from their contemporaries. I feel like I haven't really seen other acts do this on stage. They're also into dancing, and their style or brand of that is pretty manic, pretty deranged, pretty demented. Songs like Now I Know and Push and Pull, these were the ones that they tried to get the crowd to dance to. It was a wild and fun time how they really just got the crowd engaged with that. Last but not least, July Talk shared a tour story of the last time they were in Ottawa. I do appreciate a band or artist that kind of shares this personal connection to a city instead of just shouting out, "Hey, Ottawa!" And then you just have the crowd just going nuts, and it's just like, are they actually caring about the city they're in? But yeah, anytime you can share that relatable kind of story, you're going to have new fans on board getting into your music, and you're going to keep the old ones around. It just makes for a deeper, more intimate kind of connection with the audience, and yeah, can never go wrong with it. Now moving on to the sound or recreation of the music itself, I feel like this is a little bit of an unfair criticism just because some bands like to play their songs a bit differently live compared to the studio versions. I know every single band or artist might play their songs a bit differently. They might want to throw in an extended outro. They might want to throw in an extra guitar solo. But yeah, we're just going to be talking more in terms of like the vocals, if they're able to hit like the same kind of notes. We're going to be talking about like the instruments like guitar, bass, if they sound the same kind of way. So I'm not really going to be really criticizing in any way unless like it just sounded horrendous to my ears. In terms of vocals, Peter pretty much sounds the exact same as what he does on studio albums. And that's quite impressive because he does have a very gravelly, very guttural voice. It's really an eye-opener when you see him for the first time and it's like the voice doesn't really match the baby face. That definitely took me for a surprise when I first saw him. And what else really took me for surprise was just how he could scream and shout for pretty much the full hour. He did only have to like tone it down a couple of times so he couldn't like do the longer kind of shouts. But yeah, for a full hour, it was really impressive. Now for Leia, the other lead vocalist, she has a very soft, very angelic voice, so it's a big contrast compared to Peter. She sounds a little bit different, I would say, in live settings. That's not in a bad way. I feel like she's still very controlled, very soothing in her vocal style, but definitely sounds good. The bass was very thick. It was very punchy. I was staying in front of the subwoofer, so it was going to be rattling my chest all night long no matter what. The drums are tight. The guitars are a lot louder than what they typically are on the studio albums. That worked really well with the song Now I Know. The studio version of that song has a pretty quiet mixing of the guitar. But once we had like that center of attention on them live, just made for such an encapsulating kind of experience, especially with the harmonics and high-pitched squeals. Last but not least, the lights and other kind of visual kind of aids, the props. July Talk are definitely known for their black and white kind of imagery. They have this contrast. This is what they're known for. They are a band about conversation. They have one side of the argument versus the other, hence why their album covers are both black and white. But yeah, so with this, the lights on stage were all white, matched the clothing of the band members, just a great sense of uniformity. I love that kind of presence on stage when everyone's kind of matching together. It made for a great show. And during the one song, The Garden, they also had like this prop of the moon. And when that's lit, it usually is white. Thought that was a nice added touch as well. It got the crowd kind of pumped up. So yeah, July Talk, I thought they put on a great show. Yeah, I would definitely recommend. Now we're going to talk about the main act, Metric. So for the set list, they played mostly songs off their 2009 record, Fantasies, and also a lot of their songs from the 2018 record, Art of Doubt. This is what the tour was about. Metric also played their big singles off of Synthetica. Of course, they played songs like Black Sheep, Dead Disco, Cascades. During Cascades, I shared like this very intimate moment with the lead singer, Emily Haynes. So I may have not gone home with like a guitar pick, a set list, or a drumstick, but I locked eyes with her, and I will never forget that. Now for Metric, they played for a pretty long time. They went on stage just after 9 o'clock, and they played till about 11. The only songs they were kind of missing, the ones that I would have added to their set list, would include Youth Without Youth and Love You Back. I can't really complain, though. They do have a deep backlog of big hits, so they got to as many as possible, and they still played a good chunk of their new album, which was the main reason for them going on tour. They also did play No Lights on the Horizon, which is the closing track from their new record, which I would highly recommend. It is a bit of a sad song, but it just comes together. It's a fantastic listen. Now for the showmanship and crowd engagement, Emily was also out on the speakers. She didn't attempt the rail kind of limbo, but she was still engaging with the crowd, and I thought that was really nice. Emily, along with the other two guitarists, James and Josh, James plays the lead guitar and Josh plays bass. They have a brand or style to their kind of music that they come together. They're like the main focus of the group. They play the synthesizers. They were moving them around on stage. They were getting really close together for certain songs. They interacted with each other quite a bit. Very fun, very playful in the way that they kind of got along together. Very different from July Talk for sure. Still entertaining, and I can't really take that away from them. James and Emily also shared a nice ballad as well. Emily sang and James played the guitar for a very sweet song. Like July Talk, Metric also shared a tour story of when they first played in Ottawa. They opened up for Billy Talent, and they told the crowd that they got booed at and they were thrown beer bottles. They were just whipped and chucked at the stage. That definitely could discourage a lot of up-and-coming bands, but they stuck with it. They found their crowd, they found their fans, and it's a great, courageous story. Back to the live performance that I got to see, Emily had the crowd singing along to Breathing Underwater, one of Metric's most well-known and singable songs. She connected with the fans who were happy but also sad. I feel like the song lends itself well to anyone who is on top of the hill having the best time of their life and they can belt out the vocals, but also down in the dumps, and that's like the power of music when you can have everyone come together no matter what mood you're in and just sing along and have a fun time. That's the true mark of art. That's the true mark of just life in general, I feel. Now for the sound or recreation of Metric's music, I feel like it was just spot on. A few less falsettos in the vocals. The guitars, they were very piercing, very sharp, cut through the wall of sound in a crisp way. No complaints there. The few added solos were pretty virtuosic and impressive too. Now wrapping up with lights. These have always been a main part of Metric's shows. They had different kind of lights up there. They had dark lights. They had these lights that were always rotating. They kind of just made you feel like you had epilepsy at some points. With lights and visuals, I feel like this just is the reason why we go to concerts, is to tie the audio to a visual. And I definitely can't complain with what we got from Metric as well as July Talk. It was a fun show. I would definitely recommend their music. I'll have some link down in the description if you want to check some out. But yeah, I just had a fun time and I enjoyed making this video too. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this concert review. Do you want to see me do some more of these in the future? I would appreciate your feedback for sure. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new in town. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a rockin' day.